Hey, my name is Spencer Balke, and we are here for another week of Workout Wednesday Power BI Edition. For this week, week 47, we're going to be looking at some line chart custom formatting to hack through some conditional formatting where we are not necessarily offered any conditional formatting options by default. So you can see in the post on the Workout Wednesday website of some of the requirements, and you can see the output that we're trying to recreate right here. You can see that we're trying to create this line chart with these conditionally formatted dots so that we can see whether or not those dots are above or below a given threshold. You can download the PBIX file here, and then there's some basic instructions on how to create it, but we are going to show you how to create it right here. So if we go to the file that is available for download, this is what you'll see. I've already started working on it. I've really created all the calculations you're going to need to build that chart. So let's hop into creating our line chart. So first, we're actually going to start out by creating a bar chart, and that's actually part of the hack. So we're going to need to create the bar chart first with our conditional formatting to be able to enable the line chart to be conditionally formatted. So let's create our bar chart, and let's drag our year to our axis. Let's drag our games above 500 to our values. And then let's drag our franchise ID to our small multiples. This is going to create the small multiple chart that we're going to use. We're going to filter out franchise IDs that are blank. So we're going to select all, unselect blank. And now we are going to go in and format this small multiple so that the grid layout is 5 by 6. And when I say 5 by 6, we have 30 teams. And so if we come here, we're going to create 5 columns, and then we're going to create 5 rows. And what that's going to do is that's going to condense down the small multiple chart so we can see all the teams in one view. So now what I'm going to do, just one more aesthetic thing, is I'm going to take off all the grid lines. And we're going to see these bar charts by themselves. Turn off the title. It's the last little bit of aesthetic cleanup. Okay, so now we have each team by year showing how many more games they won or lost by year. So, if a team, in this case, Atlanta, won 42 more games than they lost that season. They won 40 more games than they lost that season. On the flip side, in 2004, Arizona lost 60 more games than they won, as shown by that negative bar. So what we want to do is we want to conditionally format each of these items by how many games they won or lost. And we're actually going to format this by a different field, not even games above 500. We're going to format this by the field win-loss percentage. So what I want to do is I want to say, if you won more than 55% of your games, we're going to make you a dark blue. If you were kind of in between and you won between 45 and 55% of your games, you're going to be a gray. And if you lost more than 55% of your games or won 45% of your games or less, then you're going to be a dark red. So we can kind of see those outliers of who won more, who won less, and find some stories with that data. So first, we're actually going to turn this into the line chart. And you'll notice that, there's no dots at all here. Well, what we can do is we can actually drag this win-loss percentage here. It's going to create some dots, but this is a categorical coloring, which we don't want. Now, if we go up and put our games above 500, it does the same thing. In Legend, it does the same thing, kind of breaks them out by category. Neither of those that we want. We actually want that conditional formatting that can dynamically move along with our logic that we're going to input in here. So if we come here to format and come down to data colors, you go, oh, well, what if we conditionally format it here? Well, we actually don't have the FX button here. That's the whole reason that we are doing this workaround, is that we don't have the FX button here. So what we end up having to do is we end up having to turn this back into a bar chart so that we can come to our data colors and we have our FX button here. So now let's click on our FX button. And you can see that we are now able to control the conditional formatting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do rules, and I'm actually going to change the field in which I am conditionally formatting by. I'm going to conditional format by my win-loss percentage, and I'm going to say if your value is greater than or equal to 55%, and it's less than, I'm going to turn this to blank, then you get that dark blue. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, okay, if you are greater than or equal to 45% winning percentage, and less than, again, like blank, I'm going to give you that gray. Lastly, I'm going to say, if you are greater than blank and less than 45%, then we're going to give you that dark red. I'm actually going to change up how these are cascading so that they make sense. To Power BI. So I'm going to reverse that order, and now you can see that we have this logic, and I'm going to click OK. I'm going to click OK. Now we're going to get all of our seasons categorized by whether I won 45% or 55% or more of my games. Red if we won 45% or less, and then a gray if we kind of just had an okay and not very memorable season for one reason or the other. Now you can see that my FX is here, and there's the conditional formatting is applied. Now what I'm going to do is, having this still selected, I'm going to click on my line chart, and you can see now that the conditional formatting carries over. Really cool, right? Well, if I come here now to data colors, you'll see I still don't have that FX value. I can actually click show all. This is going to enable me to manually override those values. I am just going to tell you probably don't want to do that, because you want this conditional formatting to keep applying that formatting going forward instead of having that manual override. So just be careful when playing around with that later. But that is the hack, going from your bar chart where it's conditionally formatted, taking it to the line chart where you have these dots that are conditionally formatted with it. So that is the trick. That is the workaround. Not terribly complicated, but still something cool that you might need to know to get a certain look or feel for your reports at work or with clients or wherever. So thank you so much for joining us for this week, and we hope to have you back in coming weeks. Thanks a lot, and have a great rest of your day.